The Ogden Point Breakwater is more than a landmark. Stretching 762 meters into the Salish Sea, it is a century-old engineering marvel, a sacred indigenous site, and the gateway to Victoria's maritime heart. Stay tuned for several historical photos, including images of when the breakwater is being constructed, military ships, vintage cruise ships, and more. As you walk along Dallas Road towards the breakwater, you'll find a charming mid-century survivor, the Surf Motel. Captured here in May 1960, we see the motel taking shape at the corner of Dallas and Oswego. Built by Hans Peter Mangelson, the Surf Motel reflects the pure optimism of the post-war era, a time when road trips and modern conveniences defined a new way to experience the island. More than 60 years later, the Surf Motel remains a family-operated business, maintaining a tradition that is increasingly rare today. While the city around it has evolved, the motel stays true to its roots, offering simple comfort and those same sweeping views of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Quite often in the spring and summer, you'll find a row of classic cars parked out front. Here are a few photos I captured in 2019 and 2022. Long before the first granite block was laid, these shores were the ancestral territories of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. For millennia, these waters provided life-giving abundance. Elders taught the wisdom of harvesting and conservation at major village sites along this very shoreline, serving as caretakers of the sea. Today, that connection remains as deep as ever, as Indigenous descendants continue to live and lead on this unceded territory. The point is named for Peter Skene Ogden, a man as rugged as the coast itself. Born in Montreal in 1790, Ogden was a high-ranking chief factor for the Hudson's Bay Company, but his career started with a shadow. He was sent west after being implicated in the death of a rival trapper. Yet, his leadership was undeniable. He led 6 massive expeditions through the American West, mapping more of the frontier than almost any explorer of his time. He was a diplomat, negotiating the release of nearly 50 hostages during a regional uprising and helping secure the 1846 Oregon Treaty that kept Vancouver Island in Canadian hands. Ogden died in Oregon City, Oregon in 1854 at 60 years old. Today, his Métis descendants still live in the Victoria region, a living link to the man who shaped the border. By 1914, the world was changing. With the Panama Canal about to open, Victoria needed a port that could handle the world's heavy hitters. The solution? A massive breakwater. It was a feat of sheer will. Over 1 million cubic yards of rock were dropped into the deep, topped with 10,000 granite blocks, each weighing up to 15 tons. in a meticulous 9-course pyramid. The structure was completed on schedule in 1917, despite the heavy resource drains of World War I. It was engineered so perfectly that in over a century of battling Pacific surges, only a tiny fraction of those blocks has ever shifted. At the end stands the 1917 beacon, a red flashing light visible from 20 kilometers away. The breakwater doesn't just stop waves, it creates life. The stepped granite blocks create diverse habitats at varying depths, making it one of the premier dive sites in Canada. Cold, nutrient-rich waters support a massive bull kelp forest and a high concentration of marine organisms. You'll find giant Pacific octopus, wolf eels, kelp, sea anemones, and multiple fish and crustacean species can be found even at shallow depths. Nearly 1 million cruise passengers dock here annually, and Ogden Point remains a place of connection. Here are some photos of cruise ships from days gone by. Today, the Breakwater wears its history on its sleeve. In 2009, the grey concrete became one of Canada's largest canvases, the Unity Wall. Led by artists Butch Dick and Darlene Gate, the mural is a visual bridge between cultures. It's called Natsamat, meaning working together as one. The artwork honors the Douglas Treaties and the sacred relationship between the Coast Salish peoples and the sea, ensuring every visitor knows whose territory they are walking upon. The Breakwater at Ogden Point is a 100-plus-year-old wall, built on thousands of years of history, still standing against the tide. Thanks for watching this video on the Breakwater at Ogden Point in Victoria. More information can be found at walkingvancouverisland.ca.